All right, MCU fans. Now, I might make a point to actually review every single episode of the upcoming MCU projects because there were people who actually wanted me to talk WandaVision, and I honestly didn't feel like anybody wanted me to talk about it on the channel because typically when I do more of the pop culture side of things, those videos really don't get a lot of views. And to be honest, I felt like going back to my roots and, watching a bunch of other YouTubers watch content. Like I know a lot of people tell me, hey, I come to your channel because I watch Ruthless or I watch the haves and the have nots. Keep in mind, I'm a person like everybody else. So the way you come to my channel to get my thoughts on various shows, I do the same thing for other YouTubers. I mean, it felt like there were at least a dozen or more different YouTube channels I go to on the regular to get that kind of content. And as the week goes on, there were various other theory, there will be the episode review, but then there are the Easter egg breakdowns, the theories and whatnot. And let me just say, it just felt so good to see people debating about various theories and whatnot in a fan to fan fashion. It just felt good to see those kind of debates in my newsfeed as opposed to political stuff. So that was just a great change of pace. It was great to have the MCU being brought back to the forefront. It's just sad because, DC and the Arrowverse, like the Flash and whatnot, that's kind of like, they had their lane compared to Marvel because Marvel had the movies. But now Marvel comes through with these shows and it's like, damn, CW, you need to get it together. But this isn't necessarily like a finale review because, like I said, the finale was a few days ago and everybody and their mother has reviewed it. So I just wanted to give my thoughts on like the series as a whole and the fact that there was a lot of fan backlash about the finale and, Rotten Tomatoes. It was like the worst rated episode of the series, which I felt was a damn shame. So before going further, make sure you take a moment to hit like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content on the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Now, when I do these videos, don't expect a ton of Easter egg stuff because I'll mention a couple things here and there, but though I leave that to other channels because there are some channels that know the content like the way I know the haves and the have nots. Basically, they don't miss a damn thing. And if they do, there's another channel to pick up the slacks. But I thought the finale wasn't my favorite episode. I think my favorite episode is probably episode 4 because that was the episode that started. And spoilers, but if you haven't watched the show, I don't know why you're watching the video unless you like the sound of my voice. But essentially, that was the opening where Monica was brought back from the snap. And I felt like it started off on such a high note because in Endgame, when Hulk snapped, we kind of only saw the good parts of that. The fact that, oh my God, it's like Clint's getting a call from his wife and, everybody's brought back and then they fight the battle and whatnot. And then in Far From Home, it was treated like a joke. But in WandaVision, this shit was real. It's like, yo, bringing people back wasn't all fun and games. Like, in the hospitals, I just felt so weird. Like people magically appearing on stretchers that were being, brought out to ambulances to have people coming into the hospital. So imagine you just had an emergency and you're being brought into the hospital, a stretcher's being rushed out for you, but then a person blips into existence on said stretcher, not to mention hospital bedrooms. I mean, remember all the questions people had. What about people who got blipped on the plane? Or what about people who got blipped while they were getting surgery? What happened to them? I always thought about, that's messed up because imagine if like the pilot in a plane was blipped and there are like 50 people on the plane and the plane crashes and those people die. Those people wouldn't be brought back via Hulk snap because they didn't die because of the snap. They died because the plane crashed. Like there are so many ramifications that come from that honestly keeping those people blip was better for the world, but whatever. I loved episode 8. Usually in series, I say this a lot for Tyler Perry stuff, typically like sisters, haves and have nots, more often than not the penultimate episode, which is the episode prior to the finale, is better than the finale itself. It's very interesting how that works out. But, obviously, what was it? Episode 7 wasn't one of my favorites. I feel like that was the Office reference episode. That felt really short. That episode felt really short. Of course, they had Agatha All Along, that freaking song, which it was what, #1 on iTunes or Apple or whatever. Hell of a banger. I just felt like the final episode really disappointed fans, because I wasn't disappointed per se, because you all know this channel is my main street. This has been my livelihood for the past over 3 years. Reviewing shows and creating theories is what I do. I don't get disappointed when my theories are, wrong. I'm honestly happy when I'm genuinely surprised. I'm like, damn, Tyler took it in the direction I didn't, think it would go, or this director or this writer went an angle I didn't expect. And it's refreshing as opposed to being right all the time. And not to mention, I remember seeing articles like people who didn't like the show. I had so many friends who, like, after the first 2 episodes, they quit watching. And if I remember correctly, they dropped episodes 1 and 2 at the same time that first week. And then, after that, it was episode 3, 4, 5, it will be week to week. But those first 2 episodes, if you aren't a fan of like the sitcoms or, comedies from back in the day, like, Bewitched, I Love Lucy, you'll just be wondering what the hell is going on? Why am I watching this? But episode 3, which arguably has the best theme song. I don't count Agatha All Along as a theme song. That was technically Agatha's theme, but that came at the very end of episode 7. And if I remember correctly, this was actually the last song or theme song of the series, because episodes 8 and 9 did not have songs. But I think it was episode 3 or 4 that were contenders for the best theme song. I mean, ba-da-ba, Wandavision, or the Family Ties kind of Full House theme song. Making it up as we go along. I can't decide which one is my favorite, but in terms of which one I've listened to the most, it has to be the We've got some cooking and it's looking good. That's my favorite theme song. But I honestly enjoyed the show because, like I said, it was like watching week to week. This definitely got me back into superhero show. WandaVision, honestly, is the reason why I decided to start watching the CW again. I've watched every episode of Black Lightning season 4. I've loved every single one. I do sympathize with those who feel this season is boring because it does feel like they're rehashing the same thing. Jefferson calling Lynn an addict and, Lynn blaming everything that's gone wrong on Black Lightning. And Jefferson not being Black Lightning. It's just the same damn thing every episode, but Tobias Well makes the show worth watching. And then I even been watching... No, I haven't watched any of the Flash season 7. Wait, they've only had, 1 or 2 episodes so far? I've actually been binging a lot of the Arrowverse on Netflix. I've been watching random episodes, and when I tell you random, I mean random. The Flash season 1, season 4, Legends of Tomorrow season 5, season 2. I've just been all over the place. It's just been fun. I think those are the only 2 I've been watching. I've been watching Arrow, Supergirl. I've watched every episode of Black Lightning already, so no need to revisit that. It's been fun. It's been cool just jumping around because sometimes I'm looking at shows from episodes from seasons I honestly did not like, but they kind of age better with time because it's like, oh wow, season 3 wasn't as bad as I thought because season 6 was trash. So yeah, it's really cool. But WandaVision for me, people are upset because, kind of like Iron Man 2. Oh, Iron Man 2 was just a glorified commercial for the Avengers. Yeah, that's true. But how can you be mad at these streaming services shows like, WandaVision was the first, but, Falcon and Winter Soldier is up next. And they got She-Hulk, Loki, and a bunch of other stuff. Ironheart, Armor Wars, Secret Invasion. I believe it was announced when these shows were first announced that these shows would blend into the MCU themselves. So I think it goes without saying, it was advertised that, hey, these shows will be stories about particular characters, but at the end of the day, they're going to still link up to the overall MCU. So it was made known that these shows were extensions of the main movie franchise. So I don't see why people are upset about this show being just nothing more than a setup for what's to come when that's honestly what these shows were created for. I mean, you can't deny that these, I believe it was stated that they will be using movie budgets on these shows, and it shows. I mean, pun intended. I think overall the acting, I can't think of one weak performance of any. I feel like they picked the right people for the right parts. Not to mention just kudos to all the actors who played consistently throughout the series, because they portrayed the era they were playing in to a T, whether it be the 60s, 90s, whatever. It felt like I was watching a show from that specific time. And just seeing more from these two Avengers who I really didn't care much about when they were first introduced. When Vision was first introduced, I hated it because I missed Jarvis, Iron Man's AI. And Wanda, we really didn't get too much of her. So to actually have these characters and flesh them out a bit more, it felt great. Sure, this technically isn't the Vision we knew of from the main MCU movies. But at the end of the day, I think Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, we were able to see so much range from their acting, which we haven't been able to see much of in the MCU films. Not to mention Monica Rambeau, Catherine Hahn as Agatha / Agnes. Even the kids who portray Wiccan and Speed, aka Billy and Tommy. It was great. I think Evan Peters, I will admit, it was kind of messed up. It's like Evan Peters shows up to be the butt of a boner joke. But overall, it's like it's the MCU. It's all about Easter eggs and whatnot. And some things I can't understand being disappointed that your theory didn't come to fruition. But at the same time, it's like, it's okay. Mephisto wasn't necessarily in this show or Nightmare or whatever. But that's what the show was made for, to lead into those things. This was all about Wanda moving past her trauma and becoming Scarlet Witch and learning who she really is and moving on to the next stage of her life. Even though I do feel like it's foolish to leave a untrained wielder of chaos magic to hold one of the most dangerous books in the MCU and be left to her own devices. Yes, I will admit, where the freak was Doctor Strange? I mean, I do think that he was probably working on something else at the time, a bigger threat. But the Scarlet Witch, who has powers that are superior to even the Sorcerer Supreme. Remember, power doesn't always defeat experience. Like, Agnes or Agatha has centuries of magical training and whatnot. So hence why she was able to outsmart Wanda until she got outsmarted herself. But that's the flaw in any villain. The monologue that reveals a weakness that is used against them. But I do think the Vision versus Vision was the best part, because who doesn't love a philosophical discussion where it's like, wait, are you a boat or are you a boat? Wait, what? I do feel like the finale was a bit rushed because, there was just so much had to jam pack in those 50 minutes. But not everything was going to be answered. I was disappointed Darcy had like one little scene, and Jimmy Woo did his thing, but I just feel like there were so many unanswered questions. And again, I know this bleeds into the main MCU, so some questions were meant to not be answered. But Senior Scratchy, we don't know what his whole situation was. What happened to the beekeeper that Wanda seemingly erased or rewrote at the ending of episode 2? Where the hell did the Spectral Vision or the White Vision go after Hex Vision unlocked his memory files to show that, oh yeah, I am Vision, and he just flies away? Shoot. Yeah, they were just so... I remember posting this online, but I had like a full list of just random things that were never resolved. Not to mention now that Agatha is Agnes now, Scarlet Witch pretty much hexed her into the character, but she'll come back for her if she's needed, because remember, she said, you have no idea what's coming. What you unleashed. So Agatha will be back in some capacity. It's like, where will she live now? Will she live with Ralph? Will she have her own house? What's going on? Not to mention Senior Scratchy. Like, will that be the key to bringing her out of this hex mode? It's just so many things. Not to mention, I do feel like the townspeople, this was probably the birth of why normal humans will hate superpowered individuals or mutants, X-Men, in the near future, because that was one thing about like the Marvel comics and the future of the MCU that had people scratching their head like, wait, why would people hate the X-Men or be racist towards mutants when they have like Asgardians and super soldiers and Iron Men saving the world time after time? Like, why would they hate the X-Men? I think this is the beginning of that. So whenever mutants are finally introduced into the MCU, it's like, oh yeah, the people of Westview will be prime candidates for why they distrust, superpowered individuals. So yeah, I can go on and on, but I feel like this video, is long enough. So I loved WandaVision, and I believe this was originally supposed to be like the third or fourth show that would have come out on Disney Plus streaming from the MCU. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier would have been the first, like last August, but due to the pandemic and filming and everything, stuff got shifted around. And I believe some people made a point like, it isn't confirmed, but perhaps maybe, is it Benjamin Cumberbatch, aka the actor that plays Doctor Strange? Like, there could have been so many various cameos and whatnot that certain characters would have made, but due to like filming and locations, they weren't able to travel to do certain things. So that's probably one explanation. It doesn't really matter because overall it was a great show. It was a feel-good show to be up at 3 a.m. to watch. I honestly don't know if I'll be doing the same for Falcon and Winter Soldier, but it's just the excitement of having something to look forward to each week. And it felt good. It was a feel-good watch for me because people ask me, Jeremy, what do you watch outside of the shows you review? That was one of the shows. Hence why I honestly didn't want to review it, because it would have felt more like a chore. But I created a Facebook group. I have about half a dozen friends I talk with about the show every week. So maybe I will start either doing full-on videos or just a live stream. I don't know. But when Falcon and Winter Soldier comes on, I might do a week-to-week thing. So let me know your thoughts if you want me to do it. And yeah, feel free to donate to the channel by hitting me up on PayPal or Cash App. And if you enjoyed WandaVision, what did you enjoy about it? What was your favorite episode? What was your favorite theme song? What didn't you like about it? It was a great show. There we go. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.